invite Nava to present, Nava Bergman of Gothenburg University, and you will notice that you have excellent teaching material for this presentation, and this is sort of what represents what Nava is doing, and an excellent teacher who won a prize for Hebrew learning back in 1999 and has continued to develop learning material ever since. And she's probably one of those who really is doing an online course that works, and she's going to give you the secret of this now. And I've also promised her that she will have the full 25 minutes, so questions can be put to her after the sessions. But so don't expect a lot of discussion time. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. Shalom. Unlike the other the former speakers, I'm going to more or less read my paper. And I imagined I would go to a huge screen, but it is very small. So you will get a vague idea of what is on the screen, but you have the hands out to look at, to read them directly after the session if you are very curious, or in the evening as a nice reading material. In my lecture, I'm going to present and illustrate how the teaching material and learning concepts in my study kit, Biblical Hebrew for Beginners, function with some further elaboration in my net-based course at Gothenburg University in Sweden. This course is planned to be completed and enhanced by additional interactive exercise and test material within the Europlot plan. It is also planned that the entire course will be available in English as the Bergman e-learning of Biblical Hebrew for Beginners. The net-based resources of the course in Swedish and likewise the future course in English supplements the current text and workbook, which are and will always be the backbone of both teaching and learning. In both the Swedish and the English editions, I advise teachers to concentrate on the workbook in teaching, using the textbook as a source for additional information and complete grammatical charts. Brilliant theoretical lectures and explanations are excellent appetizers, but the main course is practice, that is exercises, preferably drawn from original biblical text. Students gain skills and develop understanding of phonological, morphological, and syntactic structures via exercises. The study kit in Swedish includes, it was published in the year 2000, a textbook, an exercise book, and an audio CD package with word lists, exercises, text, and biblical songs. The English workbook is based on the Swedish study kit and is planned to be the cornerstone of the Bergman e-learning project. Here is the welcome page of the net-based course in Swedish. Please note the very first two documents of the course. You can't read it, but I'll tell you what it is about. The title of the first document is Faced with the Hebrew Bible, We Are All Immigrants. As one of my students put it, so the barrier to biblical text is not only of language, geography, and time. There is, in addition, a cultural barrier that immigrants to the biblical sphere should notice and deal with. The cultural discourse is essential for the understanding of biblical text, since the language mirrors the reality of its users and the way they grasp the world. The cultural discourse, in addition, is likewise rather important for the translation of an ancient sacred text, since the translation can be, to some extent, a matter of interpretation. As a teacher, I did realize quite early that my students love language and context. Apart from the ancient biblical roots, I include in the concept of language in context also present-day Judaism, Jewish liturgy, and Jewish life. That is why the net-based course offers a variety of optional enrichment material of cultural and historical nature, which enables students to experience the language of the Bible in its authentic context, and of which each student may choose according to his or her needs and interests. The cultural enrichment material is used as a tool to consolidate linguistic proficiencies, since it is always completed by tailored reading and analysis material in Hebrew, preferably coherent biblical text. One example is a module, the Hebrew calendar, that is used as a theme throughout a whole academic year, from New Year, Rosh Hashanah, and on. Background information is acquired in Swedish and English via links in the internet, text, sound files, videos, songs, etc. The reading exercise in Hebrew for this overview page is the names of the month in the current Hebrew calendar. Here is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, with focus on the temple and the name of the Lord, which is articulated by the high priest once a year in the temple. The reading and analysis material in Hebrew includes some of the Hebrew names of God. Even non-biblical holidays are included in this module, highlighting their biblical roots via biblical text. Here is Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day. The biblical roots are two important Jewish symbols: Talit, the Jewish prayer shawl with the tzitzit fringes, found in the flag of the State of Israel, and menorah, the seven-branch candelabra of the temple, found in the emblem of the State of Israel with two olive branches. The material in Hebrew consists of two coherent biblical texts: Zechariah 4, verse 1 to 6, which is about the menorah with the olive branches, and Numbers 15, verse 37 to 41, which is about tzitzit, the fringes in the four corners of the talit. This page in the model is from the model called Translator's Corner. The second of the very first two documents in the welcome page of the course in Swedish deals with the problems, the linguistic ones, that face the Bible translator. It is important, right from start, to make the student aware of the complex of problems facing the Bible translator, due, among other things, to the basic differences between Swedish as a West European language and Hebrew as a Semitic language. The student is required in his/her own translation work into Swedish to follow the Hebrew structures as closely as possible. It is in the empty lines. And then systematically evaluate how well the following two biblical translations, one older and one modern, reflect the Hebrew text. This, in order to be able, at the end of the course, to understand and discuss why, from the linguistic point of view, various translations may offer different interpretations of the Hebrew text. The module Translator's Corner opens a window to the creative process of translating and evaluating existing translations. Differences between Hebrew and Swedish are continually highlighted and illustrated via different translations of the same construction in a current text. The module Hebrew via Biblical Songs, which includes liturgical pieces from the Siddur, the prayer book, is also language and context. It is Hebrew here and now, both inside and outside the synagogue. The 40 biblical songs in the module with translation are introduced right from the start as a reading exercise. The students can practice reading proficiency by singing. Later on, songs are used to demonstrate relevant grammatical moments at each stage of the course. For instance, nif'al, the M stem. Here there are songs with various forms of nif'al in color. By the end of the course, everything in each song of the module is systematically analyzed. Songs give the students a further opportunity to consolidate the knowledge of vocabulary and grammatical rules. Now, what is the pedagogical profile of my teaching material? And that apart from active learning as a method to acquire a classical language, teaching language and context, and focus on discussion about the linguistic difficulties in translating biblical text. I address the student directly in the English book on page 31. The process of active learning is anchored in the common phenomena of the Hebrew language. That is, the general systematic vowel and consonant changes which occur when words are formed and inflected. Since many words of the core vocabulary of the Hebrew Bible differ from the basic word patterns and inflections, the beginner is confronted with constant, seemingly chaotic sound changes in many frequent words. Consequently, apart from the basic word patterns and inflections, the beginner has to memorize a considerable number of so-called exceptions. In fact, most of the so-called deviant forms